Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. I'm currently outside Downing Street, where the celebrations of Vaisakhi are currently going on in Downing Street, as you can see behind me. And we've had all of the high-profile people go in at the moment, and the celebrations have been going on with a lot of pomp inside. David Cameron has also made a special speech about Vaisakhi. It's the third year now that Vaisakhi has been celebrated at Downing Street, and of course David Cameron is the first British Prime Minister to actually have Vaisakhi here at Downing Street, and it's a wonderful pleasure to be here.
You're all extremely welcome here tonight, and there are really just three things I wanted to say. The first is a very, very warm welcome to number 10 Downing Street. I'm really delighted that this is the third Vaisakhi reception that I've been able to host here in number 10 Downing Street, and I particularly look forward to the one next year, because I made a little calculation in my head, and I believe I'm right in saying that next year will be the 160th anniversary of the first Sikh arriving in the United Kingdom back in 1854, which was, I think, although I have to check, considerably before the Camerons made it south from Scotland to England. And of course, the first Gurdwara was established here in London decades ago. So I'm looking forward to that anniversary next year, and you're all hugely welcome. And I wanted to welcome you particularly this year, because I think the highlight of my year so far, in a job that takes me to meet some extraordinary people and to some extraordinary places, was the visit that I was able to make to Amritsar to see for myself the Golden Temple, really the spiritual home of your religion. And I have to say it was an incredibly moving and memorable experience. Might be right to say that when I'm hit with trouble and turbulence and problems, that I can just think back to those beautiful calm waters around the Golden Temple, the wonderful smell of the chapatis being cooked for people who visited. And as I discovered, visited from all over the world. The very first person I met, I put out my hand and said, "Hello, I'm David Cameron," and they said, "Yes, I know, I'm from Croydon." So the first thing is a very, very warm welcome. I'm really delighted to hold this reception. And I'm delighted to be holding it in 2013, where now, for the first time in a long time, I think that British Sikhs are also properly represented in Parliament, and I'm very proud of the fact that we have, on the Conservative benches and on other benches, but British Sikhs who are there in their own right and making a fantastic contribution, as people like Paul Uppal are, and he's very welcome, and he gave me a good guide to the Golden Temple, and I can say something about it. Now, the second thing I wanted to say is I think tonight is a night to celebrate the immense contribution that British Sikhs make to our country. We have another anniversary coming up, which will be a huge reminder of that, and that is, of course, next year will be the 100th anniversary of the outbreak of the First World War. And you can visit, and I'm sure many of you have visited, those cemeteries in France and in Belgium where lie many, many brave Sikhs who fought against Germany in that important struggle, and who fought for Britain and for our allies. And when I look around the room, it is obvious what an immense contribution British Sikhs make to our country. There are so many people in this room who are leaders in business, who are taking on what I say about making sure we win in the global race. And there are so many in this room that contribute today to our armed forces, and it's wonderful to have you here, and so many who contribute to all parts of Britain, in culture, in music, in the arts, in industry. And it is worth celebrating and recognising that. And of course, tonight I met someone who doesn't have a very busy time, of course, and that is that person who's responsible for looking after the spiritual needs of British Sikhs who end up in prison. Because, of course, you have one of the lowest rates of imprisonment, I think, of any group in our society, because Sikhs are law-abiding and contribute so much to our country. So that is the second thing, is to really celebrate the immense contribution that you make today, and the even bigger contribution that you'll make in the future. The third thing I want to say, and I speak as a complete non-expert, and that is that tonight is obviously a night also to celebrate the Sikh religion itself. And this is where, if I get this wrong, you can blame Paul Uppal, because he gave me the brief explanation of the three pillars of your faith. The pillar of the absolute belief in God and the importance of worshipping God, the spiritual side to your religion that I saw so beautifully at Amritsar. And the second pillar being a respect for work and the importance of work and the dignity that work brings. And the third pillar being the importance of contributing to your community. And those are really such vital pillars of our life here in the United Kingdom. And maybe they are part of the explanation why your community is a model of how a community can integrate into a country, can make such an enormous contribution to that country, but can, of course, retain the importance of your separate identity at the same time. And that is an identity that this government is very much committed to recognising and, where necessary, taking action to help on these issues. There was recently this, the EU can be the cause of trouble sometimes, not always, but the issue of aggressive searching of turbans as Sikhs go through airport terminals. We were determined to get to the bottom of this, to find out what was really necessary, and we've cut through the nonsense, and I'm very proud of the fact that the government has put a stop to that on behalf of the British Sikh community. So a very warm welcome, a very big thank you for the contribution that you make to our country, a special recognition tonight of the importance of your faith, and above all, a very big thank you for all that you do for our country and for the warm welcome that I was given on that historic trip to Amritsar. I was quite surprised that no serving British Prime Minister had been, not only to visit the Golden Temple, but also to see the site of that dreadful event that happened in the last century. And I think it's important to go, to pay your respects, to understand the birthplace and the heart of your religion, but also to understand what was done all those years ago that should never have been done. So you're hugely welcome here. I'm proud that it's my third reception. I look forward to many more like this. You should think of number 10 Downing Street as one of your homes. Thank you very much.
And now I've actually got Vaisakhi here with me.
Yeah, it was a lovely atmosphere. I mean, first of all, thanks to the Prime Minister for inviting us all here for the Vaisakhi. It's the third time he's done it in the year, in the 3 years. It was a brilliant thing. It started with basically a Shabad, and then there was an Ardas, and then obviously the Prime Minister gave his speech where he has in fact confessed that he was very, very impressed with his trip to Amritsar. He says no matter how much tension he's got in England, in the UK with the EU and all that, but the environment in Amritsar was so pleasant that he just loved it and he forgot everything. And he also talked about the services and the type of quality the Sikhs have, and he's really impressed, and he's saying that's a reason, this is a token of appreciation that I'm doing these functions, and I would love to carry on doing them as long as I'm here in the 10 Downing Street, and treat this as your own home.
That's absolutely fantastic. So he actually said, you know, treat this as your own home, which I think is very, very humble of him to say. And also, how important do you think it is that Downing Street celebrates Vaisakhi now? Because it's the third year in a row now that Downing Street is celebrating Vaisakhi. How important is that?
I think it's very important. In fact, we Sikhs should be proud of it. That you know, it's never happened before. Yes. You know, I mean, I've come from Kuwait. I've lived all my life there. I was born in India, but we've never seen this anywhere. A Prime Minister's residence and celebration of Vaisakhi. That's unique. That is something great, and we all should be proud of that. And the support they've given us, and you know, the affection they've given us. You know, and it's fantastic. It feels like home.
That's brilliant. And also want to give you some fantastic news about Sikh Channel. We're now live in Canada as well. So what do you think about that, that we're now bringing millions of Sikhs together?
Oh, that is a fabulous news. I've been waiting for that for the last year or so, and I really am I congratulate the Sikh channel for all their efforts, for what they've put into it. They've done brilliant work in the UK and Europe, and now it's a proud moment that we are in Canada, and I mean very soon we'll be in America and so on. And I think they're working with Dish Network and so on, and it's fantastic. I think it's a brilliant news for even the people in Canada. So people in Canada, America, you guys are lucky, and I wish you all the best. And really, you're going to enjoy the Sikh channel.
That's brilliant. And now the Sikh channel is trying to really fulfill bringing millions of Sikhs together. What do you think is next for the channel?
Well, I think the next is now. I mean, we're here. We have now gone into Canada. I think the next step is now. I mean, we've got Europe, we've got America and Canada. I think the next is now Australia. I mean, India, we've got India. There's too many channels there. But I think next is Australia. We need to get to there. We have a lot of Sikh brothers, Sikh families living in Australia. And I think it's, completely away from all the continents. So if we are there, we've literally covered the world then.
That's fantastic. And finally, to finish off, what message would you like to give the Sikh channel viewers out there for the celebrations of Vaisakhi?
Lakh vadaiyan hon Vaisakhi diyan to every viewer, to every Sikh in this world, and lakh vadaiyan hon Sikh channel nu, and thank you very much Sikh channel da jehde cover karde ne, and they're doing a fantastic job. Vaiguru kare is sada hamesha injai hasde khire matte karde rehan.
Vaisakhi, thank you very much. Vaiguru ji ka khalsa, Vaiguru ji ki fateh. So firstly, I will come to you, Paji. What do you want to say about Vaisakhi, and what do you want to say in particular about the event that happened in 10 Downing Street?
ਅੱਜ ਇੱਥੇ 10 ਡਾਊਨਿੰਗ ਸਟਰੀਟ ਆਣ ਕੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਚੰਗਾ ਲੱਗਿਆ ਜੀ। ਸਾਰੇ ਸਿੱਖ ਚੈਨਲ ਨੂੰ ਵੇਖਣ ਵਾਲੇ ਸਰੋਤਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ, ਦਰਸ਼ਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਮੇਰੇ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਬਹੁਤ-ਬਹੁਤ ਪਿਆਰ ਭਰੀ ਸਤਿ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਔਰ ਵਿਸਾਖੀ ਦੀਆਂ ਬਹੁਤ-ਬਹੁਤ ਮੁਬਾਰਕਾਂ ਖਾਲਸੇ ਦੇ ਜਨਮ ਦਿਨ ਦੀਆਂ। ਔਰ ਖਾਲਸੇ ਦਾ ਜਨਮ ਆਪਾਂ ਇੰਡੀਆ 'ਚ ਤਾਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਮਨਾਉਂਦੇ ਆ, ਇੱਥੇ ਵੀ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਾ ਸਾਹਿਬ 'ਚ ਵੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਮਨਾਉਂਦੇ ਆ, ਪਰ ਜਦੋਂ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹੇ ਥਾਂ ਤੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਆਣ ਕੇ ਕੋਈ ਸੈਲੀਬ੍ਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਿੱਖ ਧਰਮ ਨੂੰ, ਸਾਡੇ ਮੈਂ ਸਮਝਦਾ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹੇ ਤਿਉਹਾਰ ਮਨਾਏ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ, ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਹੋਰ ਬਹੁਤ ਇੱਕ ਉਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਮਿਲਦਾ, ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਬਹੁਤ ਚੰਗਾ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਕਿ 10 ਡਾਊਨਿੰਗ ਸਟਰੀਟ ਇੱਕ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਦੇ ਘਰ ਆਣ ਕੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੈਲੀਬ੍ਰੇਟ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ। ਸੋ ਵੀ ਰੀਅਲੀ ਪ੍ਰਾਊਡ ਐਂਡ ਵੀ ਰੀਅਲੀ ਥੈਂਕਸ ਟੂ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਾਡਾ ਅੱਜ ਇੱਥੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਕਰਵਾਇਆ। ਔਰ ਸਾਰੀ ਸਿੱਖ ਕੌਮ ਬਹੁਤ-ਬਹੁਤ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਧੰਨਵਾਦੀ ਆ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਬਹੁਤ ਚੰਗੀ ਗੱਲ ਆ। ਮੈਂ ਸਮਝਦਾ ਕਿ ਵਾਈਟ ਹਾਊਸ 'ਚ ਵੀ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ ਐਂਡ ਹੋਰ ਵੀ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਕੰਟਰੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ। ਇਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਡੀ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਦੀ ਇੱਕ ਨਵੀਂ ਪਹਿਚਾਣ ਬਣਦੀ ਆ, ਸਾਡੀ ਦਸਤਾਰ ਦੀ ਪਹਿਚਾਣ ਬਣਦੀ ਆ। ਸੋ ਬਹੁਤ ਚੰਗਾ ਲੱਗਿਆ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇੱਥੇ ਆਣ ਕੇ।
And now I'm actually currently joined by MP Paul Uppal, who actually helped to organise the event.
Well, this is the third year we've had it at number 10. And I remember the first time we actually started it, I approached the Prime Minister and said, look, we really need to celebrate Vaisakhi at number 10. And helping organising it and putting the idea is one thing, but ultimately it's a Prime Minister's choice on whether he does it or not. And I have to say, he's been fantastic in his support. So, really good event. I think everybody enjoyed it, everybody came together, and it's a real positive day today.
So was it your idea that you really pushed the celebrations at Vaisakhi to actually happen 3 years ago?
I just think it's important for us as a community to be recognised. And I'm glad that the Prime Minister was able to facilitate that. But yeah, I think it's absolutely important. We celebrate so many things at number 10. Why shouldn't we celebrate Vaisakhi? After all, Sikhs make a massive contribution to Britain. We should celebrate that.
Absolutely. And can you tell us a little bit what happened in the Downing Street? Because we didn't actually, unfortunately, get to film inside because of the security. So can you just tell us a bit about what happened?
It was the Prime Minister came in, and then there was some Kirtan, which is quite nice, and I think it just created the atmosphere really well. And then we had the Adas as well. So it was a nice, and then the Prime Minister delivered a speech as well. So I think it was, overall, the event went really, really well, and he just recognised the massive contribution that Sikhs make to the UK, and I think it's a wonderful, wonderful event, really.
What did you think of the Prime Minister's speech? Did you think it was a fitting speech for Vaisakhi?
Well, I'm going to be quiet because I did actually talk to him about the speech as well. So I'm going to.
Did you help her make the speech?
I wouldn't say I helped make the speech, but it's all I would say is the whole philosophy of Sikhism. I've sort of managed to impress upon the Prime Minister, and he's interested in it. This is the important message I want to make today. It's not about what I do. The Prime Minister's genuine interest in this. He's engaged with it. No matter how much I recommend it or advise him, ultimately it's his choice on whether we progress it, and he's more than happy to support it.
Vaisakhi Mubarak to all the viewers. It is such a matter of pride that we are Sikhs and best among the rest. Thanks to Guru Gobind Singh Ji for establishing a brotherhood of Khalsa, which changed the way mankind was being treated. And now we are a liberated community. We are punching above our weight because of the leadership of Guru Gobind Singh Ji. And tonight we have celebrated Vaisakhi in number 10 Downing Street. The Prime Minister who had recently come from Amritsar and Jallianwala Bagh was so touched and moved with his experience, and he described the experience of Golden Temple, what a place of tranquility, love, harmony, where people from all shades and colors and religions are welcomed, and they were having langars. He said, I enjoyed the smell of chapatis there and saw the beautiful calm waters of Amritsar, and I felt peace with myself. And then he went to Jallianwala Bagh. Of course, he said it was a dreadful act which we should condemn wherever we can. But then he praised the Sikh community for their hard work, their philanthropy, and their law-abiding. He said they are the most hard-working community. They commit very little crime. And then above all, he praised the Sikhs for fighting in 2 great wars with the Brits and changed the course of many battles. So we are very proud, and this is a great a tribute to Sikh Gurus and their vision, that tonight we are at number 10 Downing Street celebrating their vision. Thank you.
And this year was a very special year indeed, as history was made. For the first time ever, Kirtan was performed inside 10 Downing Street.
Vaisakhi Ji ka Khalsa, Vaisakhi Ji ki Fateh. Thank you for inviting us here today to celebrate the creation of the Khalsa, which is Vaisakhi 1699. We will be reciting a hymn from the Guru Granth Sahib Ji in Rag Bilabo with my Guru Arjan Dev Ji. The main divine message of this hymn is the perfect Guru has saved me by enshrining the holy name into my heart, and through meditation I have found peace. Vaisakhi Ji ka Khalsa.
And now I'm joined by the Leamington Spa Gurmukh Academy. First of all, I'm going to come to you. How did it feel to actually perform Kirtan at 10 Downing Street?
Amazing. It's like lifetime opportunity. Like some 10, 11-year-olds don't normally get to do this, but I've been really lucky to be part of the group and do it here.
Were you nervous, be honest?
A little bit.
A little bit. How did you overcome that? You just went for it?
Yeah, I tried to look down and not smile too much.
That's fantastic. How did you feel doing Kirtan at 10 Downing Street?
It was amazing. It was like a once in a lifetime opportunity.
And were you a little nervous?
Yeah, it was at the start, but I think I got over it.
Did you guys get to actually meet David Cameron, any of you? You did, and what did you say to him?
Well, we didn't get to like talk to him properly, but we got a photo with him.
Oh, that's fantastic. So you're going to go home and frame that picture now. That's absolutely lovely. And now if we can just talk to the Gyani ji as well. How important do you think actually having Vaisakhi here in Downing Street is for us Sikhs?
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ ਅਸੀਂ ਅੱਜ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਰਲ ਮਿਲ ਕੇ ਪ੍ਰਧਾਨ ਮੰਤਰੀ ਜੀ ਦੇ ਡਾਊਨਿੰਗ ਸਟਰੀਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਿਸਾਖੀ ਮਨਾਈ ਆ ਔਰ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇਦਾਂ ਲੱਗਾ ਕਿ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਇੱਕ ਭਾਈਚਾਰਕ ਤੌਰ ਤੇ ਰਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਔਰ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਇੱਥੇ ਹੋਈ ਆ ਵਿਸਾਖੀ ਦੀ ਔਰ ਇਹ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਵਾਰ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਡਾਊਨਿੰਗ ਸਟਰੀਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਹੋਈ ਆ ਵਿਸਾਖੀ ਔਰ ਖਾਲਸੇ ਦੀ ਚੜ੍ਹਦੀ ਕਲਾ ਲਈ ਔਰ ਸਰਬੱਤ ਦੇ ਭਲੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਔਰ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਡੀ ਗੱਲ ਆ ਸਾਡੇ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਅੱਜ ਇਹ ਗੱਲ ਕਹੀ ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਯੂਰਪ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਜਾਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਇੰਗਲੈਂਡ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਦਸਤਾਰ ਦਾ ਮਸਲਾ ਜਾਂ ਸਾਡੇ 5Ks ਦਾ ਮਸਲਾ ਹੈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਆ ਪੂਰਨ ਭਰੋਸਾ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਲੋੜ ਪਈ ਤਾਂ ਕਾਨੂੰਨ ਵੀ ਬਣਾਵਾਂਗੇ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਗੱਲ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਹੀ ਆ ਔਰ ਦੂਸਰੀ ਗੱਲ ਮੈਂ ਵੀ ਆਇਆ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕਿਸੇ ਸਿਕਿਉਰਿਟੀ ਵਾਲੇ ਨੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਸੇ ਦਸਤਾਰ ਨੂੰ ਹੋਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਟੱਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤਾ ਔਰ ਇਹ ਸਾਡੇ ਬੜੇ ਮਾਣ ਵਾਲੀ ਗੱਲ ਆ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਅੱਜ ਰਲ ਮਿਲ ਕੇ ਲੈਮੈਂਟਨ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸੰਗਤ ਹੋਰ ਆਸ-ਪਾਸ ਦੀ ਸਾਰੀ ਸੰਗਤ ਅਸੀਂ ਰਲ ਮਿਲ ਕੇ ਅੱਜ ਪ੍ਰਧਾਨ ਮੰਤਰੀ ਜੀ ਦੇ ਨਿਵਾਸ ਸਥਾਨ ਤੇ ਇਹ ਵਿਸਾਖੀ ਮਨਾਈ ਆ ਇਹ ਸਦਭਾਵਨਾ ਤੇ ਪਿਆਰ ਦੇਖੋ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਪਿਆਰ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਹੱਲ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਪਿਆਰ ਇੱਕ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡਾ ਹਥਿਆਰ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਪਿਆਰ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਅਸੀਂ ਹਰ ਇੱਕ ਨੂੰ ਜਿੱਤ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਪਿਆਰ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਦੂਸਰੇ ਤੇ ਪ੍ਰਭਾਵ ਪਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਸੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਪਿਆਰ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਸੰਗਤ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬੱਚੇ ਵੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਸਾਰੇ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਸੰਗਤ ਵੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਆਪਾਂ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਰਲ ਮਿਲ ਕੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਵਿਸਾਖੀ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਆਪਾਂ ਮਨਾਈ ਹੈ
My name is Baljinder Singh. I'm not the main organiser, I'm one of the organisers. There's many organisers within Gurmat Singh Academy.
And how did you actually help to organise the event and get all of these lovely children here?
Okay, the children have been learning for 2 or 3 years now under Ustad Anup Singh, Ustad Varinder Singh and Amrinder Singh ji. So we've been together as a Jatha for a while. I was contacted by a local MP, Chris White, because he was asked to provide the Kirtan and the Gyani ji from his constituency. So we came along and had a meeting with Martha and eventually were able to bring quite a few of the students down. So it was an experience for all of them. Hopefully it will inspire them to carry on and achieve bigger and better things. So.
And how did it actually feel for yourself going into Downing Street? Is this the first time that you've been inside?
No, I've visited before, but I think for the first time to sing Shabd Gurbani in the Rag with Guru Sajas, for that sound to be vibrating within the walls of Downing Street, it's a very special occasion, very deep spiritual occasion for us. So that was, unbelievably amazing.
And how important is it for Vaisakhi to carry on in 10 Downing Street for years to come?
The Sikhs contribute a lot to United Kingdom, and we have done since the times of the mutiny, 1857, both world wars. Many of our forefathers gave their lives for the United Kingdom. We fought alongside the British, so we have a very long and deep relationship. Maharaja Dalip Singh was brought here from earlier on the Raj, and that continues obviously with our forefathers that came here and worked hard for this economy and really gave us all the life that we now live. So I think it's important to carry on that relationship, but not only carry on, it's good that it's been recognised now on a level in terms of religion, which is very important.
Baji, thank you very much.
Rt Singh Suriye, मैं कंजर्वेटिव पार्टी ਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਬੜਾ ਸਟਰੋਂਗ ਮੈਂਬਰ ਹਾਂ ਤੇ ਨੰਬਰ 10 ਡਾਊਨਿੰਗ ਸਟਰੀਟ ਤੋਂ ਅੱਜ ਤੀਸਰੀ ਦਫਾ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਡੇਵਿਡ ਕੈਮਰਨ ਨੇ ਵਿਸਾਖੀ ਦੀ ਸੈਲੀਬ੍ਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਰੱਖੀ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਮੈਂ ਅੱਗੇ ਵੀ ਸਟੇਟਮੈਂਟ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਬਰਤਾਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਬੜਾ ਮਾਣ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਹੈ ਡੇਵਿਡ ਕੈਮਰਨ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਨੂੰ ਜਿਹਨੇ ਕਿ ਫਸਟ ਟਾਈਮ ਇਨ ਦ ਹਿਸਟਰੀ ਆਫ ਦਿਸ ਪਾਰਲੀਮੈਂਟ ਵਿਸਾਖੀ ਮਨਾਈ ਗਈ ਹੈ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਬੜਾ ਹੀ ਮਾਣ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਹੁਣ ਰੀਸੈਂਟਲੀ ਜਦ ਮਿਸਟਰ ਕੈਮਰਨ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤਸਰ ਤੋਂ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਮੇਰੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ ਲਿਖਾ ਪੜ੍ਹੀ ਵੀ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਬੜੀ ਖੁਸ਼ੀ ਪ੍ਰਗਟ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਬੜੀ ਮਾਣ ਹੈ ਕਿ he is the only prime minister, British prime minister who went to ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤਸਰ, ਜਿਹਨਾਂ ਕਿ ਉੱਥੇ ਦਰਬਾਰ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਭੀ ਕੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਮੱਥਾ ਟੇਕਿਆ ਹੈ, ਪ੍ਰਸ਼ਾਦ ਲਿਆ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਜਲਿਆਂਵਾਲੇ ਬਾਗ ਤੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਵੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਰੋਸ ਪ੍ਰਗਟ ਕੀਤਾ ਕਿ ਹਾਲਾਂਕਿ ਜਲਿਆਂਵਾਲੇ ਬਾਗ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਗੱਲ ਸੀ ਉਹ ਆਲਰੇਡੀ ਉਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਦੀ ਗੌਰਮੈਂਟ ਨੇ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਕੰਡਮ ਕੀਤਾ ਜੋ ਵੀ ਹੋਇਆ, ਪਰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਫਿਰ ਵੀ ਆਪਣੀ ਇੱਕ ਜ਼ਿੰਮੇਵਾਰੀ ਸਮਝਦਿਆਂ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਇਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਨੂੰ ਟ੍ਰਿਬਿਊਟ ਪੇ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ। ਇਹ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਬੜੀ ਮਹਾਨ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਮੈਂ ਫਿਰ ਕਹਾਂਗਾ ਕਿ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਕੁਛ ਅੱਜ ਕਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਸਿੱਖ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ ਇਸ ਕੰਟਰੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪ੍ਰਿਜ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਥੋੜੇ ਹਨ। And this is a...
Oh, sir, you're actually wearing a turban at the moment. How did this come about?
I converted to Sikhism 2 years ago. A friend of mine died in a car crash. As a result of that, I went to India to see his spiritual heritage and fell in love with it myself.
That's fantastic. So you actually converted into the religion. And what do you find that you like about the religion the most? What was the most appealing thing to you about the religion?
It's the fact that everybody does something for everybody else. It's not looking after number one first. It is all about, what can you do for your community and the wider world, and helping other people.
Fantastic. And also, what did you think about the celebrations at Downing Street of Vaisakhi? I mean, they were fantastic, weren't they?
Yes, it was. It was fantastic. Great to meet the Prime Minister, and again, a lot of new contacts in there.
Fantastic. Was this your first Vaisakhi at Downing Street for yourself?
It was, yes, my first time. Hopefully many more to come.
Absolutely. And what did you think of David Cameron's speech?
Yeah, very good. Hit some very important points there, and well received by all the Sikh community.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Vaiguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaiguru Ji Ki Fateh. And now I'm joined by Sun Kaur from United Sikhs. So, Ms. Kaur, what would you like to say about the events that happened in 10 Downing Street?
First of all, Benji, happy Vaisakhi to all the viewers out there. The event was fantastic. It was great to see so many affluent Sikhs who have come to celebrate Vaisakhi at the reception with Mr. Prime Minister David Cameron. And again, it was really nice to see that the Prime Minister is really proud of the Sikhs within the UK, because we do play such an integral role for obviously the economy here. So it was brilliant. Yeah, it was a great honour to be here again.
And what was your favourite part of the event?
Just seeing, first of all, the Kirtan was amazing. As well as that, we actually gave David Cameron a picture of him at Darbar Sahib from an artist Inquisitive, and he was really, really happy to see that. So it was a good event at the end.
Fantastic. You got to spoke to him. What did he actually say?
He was just, again, honouring the Sikhs in the UK, and I think he was very proud. And as well as that, he recognises our identity here and how important it is.
Sun Kaur, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, I've just been to the Vaisakhi celebration in number 10 Downing Street, which it's in its third year, and each year it gets a bit bigger. The food, I hope gets, I would like to say, gets better and more diverse, and it becomes more and more relaxed each time. It's a good opportunity to celebrate what the Sikh community is offering to Britain, to celebrate a very important religious festival, and to see lots of old friends, and it's been a very enjoyable evening.
Vaiguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaiguru Ji Ki Fateh Ji. So, Uncle Ji, what did you think about these celebrations at Downing Street today?
Well, in fact, it was I, as General Secretary of the British Sikh Consultative Forum, and Inderjit Singh, Network Sikh Organisations, we insisted that we have a separate function from Diwali 3 years ago, and that's how it started. So it's been the third one, so it's good, yeah.
That's fantastic. So you've been at every Vaisakhi?
Yeah. In a way, sort of, we pushed 10 Downing Street to hold this function on a yearly basis, and so we're glad that it's become a permanent feature now.
So how did you actually push 10 Downing Street to actually carry out these Vaisakhi celebrations?
Well, because we have an interface with the government, and there was a Diwali function here. They were trying to mix us together with Guru Nanak Dev Ji's Janamdin. We said, well, look, it's best to separate the two, and our biggest function is Vaisakhi. Celebrate that, so there's a bit of it becomes a Sikh function. The Prime Minister was very, very keen to go ahead with that. And so,
that's absolutely fantastic. I mean, it's phenomenal that Downing Street is actually celebrating Vaisakhi. And what did you think of David Cameron's speech?
Very good. I mean, I think he brought a good personal touch with having gone to Darbar Sahib. and I think he's seen he said he was quite moved by it. He's got memories of it, which is a testimony everybody gives. Everybody who's been to Harmandir Sahib says about that, how calming it is, even though it's such a big crowd. So I think that was a good touch.
And what message would you like to give to the viewers about Vaisakhi?
I think we are proud of this country. They understand our values, cultures, and it's good that even at the highest office, the Prime Minister's office, they've started celebrating one of the most important functions in the Sikh calendar.
Mr. Raiji, thank you very much. Vaiguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaiguru Ji Ki Fateh Ji. And now I'm joined by our British Armed Forces who represent the Sikh community. So what went on in 10 Downing Street? What would you like to say was your favourite part of the Vaisakhi celebrations?
I think the fact that David Cameron actually had quite a good idea of Amritsar and our history, I think that was very, very special.
That's fantastic. And what would you like to say about the Vaisakhi celebrations that went on here?
Well, he embraced the Vaisakhi like he did last year and the year before, and his knowledge of the history of Vaisakhi. And today, actually, I found out that the first Sikh entered this country 160 years ago, as of next year. That's brilliant, and his knowledge is just of the standard, to be honest. So, yeah. Mr. Cameron.
So you didn't actually know that back then, you learned that from coming here to Downing Street?
Yeah, the Prime Minister told us, yeah.
Fantastic. And Baji, what did you think of David Cameron's speech? I mean, he talked about actually making Downing Street as our home. What did you think about that? It was very welcoming, wasn't it?
It is very welcoming, and it's so fitting, and we're very grateful to the Prime Minister on behalf of the British Armed Forces Sikh Network, which we've just formed, for holding Vaisakhi number 10. I think it's a great day for us all, and on behalf of the British Armed Forces Sikh Network, I'd like to wish you and all Sikhs across the globe a very happy Vaisakhi.
Bahut dhanwad ji. Happy Vaisakhi to yourself as well. And coming to the British Armed Forces, I mean, how does it feel to be representing the Sikh community in the British Armed Forces?
Do you know what? It's an absolute honour being here at 10 Downing Street, especially as a Sikh. I joined over 10 years ago where we were limited in numbers, but over the past decade we've actually grown quite a lot. And as my colleague here, Max, just mentioned, we now have the official British Armed Forces Sikh Association, and that will engage hopefully with the wider Sikh national and international youth, and just put the message out there that the military is a great career path for anybody that wishes to join in the future.
Thank you very much. And did you actually get to meet David Cameron today?
Yeah, this is my second time being here with Ranveer Singh. And yes, we were the first one to meet the Prime Minister, just introduced myself. Yeah, it was good.
And what did he say to you?
Just asked me my name and which regiment I was from. Yeah.
So probably a great experience to speak to him.
Yeah, it was, especially, you feel it's one of us, especially him being to a Golden Temple in Amritsar. It was a great experience to know him, and also it was a good experience inside. The history's been made with the Kirtan happened first time, so it was a good experience. Yeah.
Baji, thank you very much. And lastly, what would you like to say to the viewers out there who are watching Sikh Channel?
Vaiguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaiguru Ji Ki Fateh. ਪਹਿਲਾ ਸਮੁੱਚੀ ਸਿੱਖ ਕੌਮ ਨੂੰ ਵਿਸਾਖੀ ਦੀ ਲੱਖ ਲੱਖ ਵਧਾਈ ਹੋਵੇ. It was a great pleasure to come here to Downing Street again. We've been coming for the last number of years. And I'd like to thank the Prime Minister David Cameron for inviting us here and giving Sikhs a recognition. As was pointed out by my colleagues, the British Army has, along with the Navy and the Air Force, has put together a tri-service Sikh network, and official Sikhs have been recognised for their work in the armed forces. We were recognised here today. Quite pleased today found out an historical fact from the Prime Minister that Sikhs in prison have the lowest number of Sikhs, lowest number of ethnic minorities is Sikhs in prison. So, we're doing well there. We're a part of integrated society, and I would encourage all Sikhs to live like they've been living in the United Kingdom and take your haq, be recognised. Thank you
very much.
May I first of all say how grateful we are and should be to the Sikh channel for covering this program at number 10 Downing Street. And I gather they have extended the operation so that they are now operating from Canada also. I knew they had gone to East Africa, but it's very heartening to know that they are now operating from Canada. This function tonight at number 10 Downing Street is the fourth, I think the third one or the fourth one held by the Prime Minister. And it's been great to be here. He was particularly, I think, vocal in telling us about his visit to Amritsar, about the contribution of the Sikhs, this contribution that they have made to the life in this country. And I think it was really very, very nice of him to say that. And we are all very glad to be here to take part in the celebrations. Vaisakhi, of course, although it's considered to be a Punjabi affair, but we are celebrating it not in Punjabi, but in England, which is now the home to something like 500,000 Sikhs. So it was a great pleasure to be here and to be a great occasion. Thank you.
What did you think about the celebrations that happened in Downing Street today?
Well, I mean, I think it's a fantastic place to have this celebration of Vaisakhi. As the Prime Minister said, this is the third time in 3 years that he's actually held this and led it, and it's a great recognition of the huge contribution that the Sikh community makes in the UK. And what was really wonderful, that people from across the UK were able to come today to the heart of government, to listen to the Prime Minister, to enjoy some great entertainment and make new friends, and above all to demonstrate that the Sikh community is making a huge, huge contribution in this country, and that's something we should all be applauding.
And the Prime Minister also said in his speech in Downing Street as well, he said that everybody is welcome and to make Downing Street their second home. What do you think about his speech?
Well, only the Prime Minister can invite people to make this their second home. I can't. Well, I think his speech was very touching, and I was with him in Amritsar when we went to visit the Golden Temple, and he was really visibly touched by going around that very holy place. And, you know, as he said himself in his statement, that it was a very serene place. And when he, you know, has sort of troubled thoughts or whatever, he does think back to the time when he was in Amritsar at the Golden Temple. And I think that's something that he will remember, and certainly I will remember as long as I live.
And what did you yourself personally think of Amritsar?
Well, I thought it was fantastic. I mean, I was born in India myself, but I had never been to Amritsar, and for me it was a revelation. And I think particularly the Golden Temple, it's something that, you know, you talk about, you hear about, but to be somewhere like that, the Holy of Holies, was really a wonderful, uplifting experience for me, and I know for everyone who was on the delegation.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much.
I think they really matter because they're an opportunity to say thank you to British Sikhs and the enormous amount they contribute to our country. And I think also to recognise what the Sikh religion has brought to civilization, their emphasis on spirituality, yes, on work, yes, but also on serving the community as well. Well, there are around 600,000 Sikhs in Britain, and they make an immense contribution. You see so many Sikhs succeeding in business, you see so many serving in our armed forces, as they have done for generations, and you see a growing Sikh contribution in the arts, in culture and in sport too. Well, the British-India relationship is strong, and I think is getting stronger. But something I was able to do that no serving British Prime Minister has done before was go to Amritsar in the Punjab and to go to the Golden Temple, really the spiritual home of the Sikh religion, and to pay my respects there and to see for myself this immensely spiritual place. And it was a very moving experience, and I think it gave me a greater understanding of the Sikh religion and what it means to so many people in our country.
Absolutely. And finally, what message would you like to give to the viewers of Sikh Channel about Vaisakhi?
I want to wish, obviously, everybody celebrated last weekend. Happy Vaisakhi. It's about Sikhs coming together. It's a difficult time, obviously, at the moment, and I want to make a small message as well. I've spoken to William Hague about Dr. Buller's position. Obviously, we were there last week when the news was breaking, when we were having the breakfast show, and I've spoken to William Hague specifically about this issue, and I think he's going to raise it as well with the Indian government. So it's about making sure that our voice, the Sikh voice, is always heard, and it's heard at number 10 today, and it's heard within government. I think that's important. But mainly the Vaisakhi message is bringing everything together, about talking about our Sikhi message and spreading that out to everybody.
That's fantastic. And also, actually, you talk about William Hague and how you're spreading the message of Devinder Pal Singh Buller. Well, what actually is he going to do? I mean, is he going to speak to the Indian government?
Well, ultimately, the choice is the Indian government on this. And that is the important thing. What we can do, we can speak with a British voice on this, and our community can speak, but ultimately it's the Indian government choice on this. But I think there's an important message here. India in the 21st century is going to be a very, very important country in terms of its value and how it portrays itself to the rest of the world. It's important that it approaches that with maturity, sensitivity, particularly how it looks after all its citizens. That's very, very important.
Paul Apple, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So that was the event at Downing Street today, and it was such a happy event here for Vaisakhi, the third annual Vaisakhi that was held here at Downing Street, and the Prime Minister spoke very, very warmly of the Sikh community as well, and we got to speak to some of the makers and shakers that were inside the building behind me. It's been very, very honourable to be here, and I'm Manpreet Kaur reporting for the Sikh channel. Vaiguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaiguru Ji Ki Fateh. Vaiguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaiguru Ji Ki Fateh. I'm currently outside Downing Street, where the celebrations of Vaisakhi are currently going on in Downing Street, as you can see behind me. And we've had all of the high-profile people go in at the moment, and the celebrations have been going on with a lot of pomp inside. David Cameron has also made a special speech about Vaisakhi. It's the third year now that Vaisakhi has been celebrated at Downing Street, and of course David Cameron is the first British Prime Minister to actually have Vaisakhi here at Downing Street, and it's a wonderful pleasure to be here.
You're all extremely welcome here tonight, and there are really just three things I wanted to say. The first is, for the first time in a long time, I think that British Sikhs are also properly represented in Parliament, and I'm very proud of the fact that we have on the Conservative benches and on other benches, but British Sikhs who are there in their own right and making a fantastic contribution, as people like Paul Uppal are, and he's very welcome, and he gave me a good guide to the Golden Temple, and I can say something about that. Now, the second thing I wanted to say is I think tonight is a night to celebrate the immense contribution that British Sikhs make to our country. We have another anniversary coming up, which will be a huge reminder of that, and that is, of course, next year will be the 100th anniversary of the outbreak of the First World War. And you can visit, and I'm sure many of you have visited, those cemeteries in France and in Belgium where lie many, many brave Sikhs who fought against Germany in that important struggle, and who fought for Britain and for our allies. And when I look around the room, it is obvious what an immense contribution British Sikhs make to our country. There are so many people in this room who are leaders in business, who are taking on what I say about making sure we win in the global race. And there are so many in this room that contribute today to our armed forces, and it's wonderful to have you here, and so many who contribute to all parts of Britain, in culture, in music, in the arts, in industry. And it is worth celebrating and recognising that. And of course, tonight I met someone who doesn't have a very busy time, of course, and that is that person who's responsible for looking after the spiritual needs of British Sikhs who end up in prison. Because, of course, a very, very warm welcome to number 10 Downing Street. I'm really delighted that this is the third Vaisakhi reception that I've been able to host here in number 10 Downing Street. And I particularly look forward to the one next year, because I made a little calculation in my head, and I believe I'm right in saying that next year will be the 160th anniversary of the first Sikh arriving in the United Kingdom back in 1854, which was, I think, although I have to check, considerably before the Camerons made it south from Scotland to England. And of course, the first Gurdwara was established here in London decades ago. So I'm looking forward to that anniversary next year, and you're all hugely welcome. And I wanted to welcome you particularly this year, because I think the highlight of my year so far, in a job that takes me to meet some extraordinary people and to some extraordinary places, was the visit that I was able to make to Amritsar to see for myself the Golden Temple, really the spiritual home of your religion. And I have to say it was an incredibly moving and memorable experience. Might be right to say that when I'm hit with trouble and turbulence and problems, that I can just think back to those beautiful calm waters around the Golden Temple, the wonderful smell of the chapatis being cooked for people who visited. And as I discovered, visited from all over the world. The very first person I met, I put out my hand and said, "Hello, I'm David Cameron," and they said, "Yes, I know, I'm from Croydon." So the first thing is a very, very warm welcome. I'm really delighted to hold this reception. And I'm delighted to be holding it in 2013, where now